Alright, whether you are a entrepreneur or a high earning medical professional and you're looking to get away from the hospital space or the brick and mortar clinics that are tying you down where you're simply making somebody else rich, you have probably seen that there's a company that just got featured on New York Times called Medvi that grew to $400 million in 2025 in revenue with a tiny team of 2 people, the founder and their brother. And so you're probably thinking, well, is this actually true? Is this possible? Or how can I do this? And how did they do this? So a little bit of background on me and why you should listen to me. First of all, if you're new to the channel, welcome in. If you've already seen my videos or maybe you already talked with one of our advisors, welcome back. My name is Peter and I've originally started as a marketing consulting company in the medical space, helping aesthetic clinics, helping brick and mortar clinics with their treatments, getting more patients and selling GLP medications. And I started realizing that a lot of my clients had 20 to 30% profit margins. They were not really making that much money in profit because they had rent, because they had machines, because they had staff they had to manage, and it was a mess, to be honest with you. We've taken one of our biggest deals to 15 locations, and the problem is that company was only making about mid 7 figures, which again, it's not bad. If you're looking at telehealth companies nowadays, you have a company that grew to $400 million and is on track to do $1.8 billion with a team of 2 people. You don't need locations and you don't need rent, and you do it with probably 40 to 60% profit margins, which I see to be the average at that size. And so I completely transitioned my model to start helping telehealth businesses because not only I can help them make more money, but number 2, there's so many more things that I can do as a marketer because I go from selling to 1,000 people in a local area to selling to 180 million people in the US, which is obviously one of the things that make this so profitable and so good as a business model because you have way more people you can target. And if you take a look at the biggest companies like Amazon, like OpenAI, those are companies that sell to everybody. They're not really selling to a local area. They're not really selling to a small niche. They are selling to everybody. And this is the same exact thing with telehealth and how this company was able to do this. Now, I want to be breaking this down because after generating about $30 million in new patient revenue for our clients, say I know a thing or two about how they did it, and I want to be pulling back the curtains on how you can do this too. And to be honest, it's really not that hard. Okay, amazing. So first thing that they did is they've taken a $20,000 investment into the website, the marketing and everything, and turned it to $400 million in 2025. And they're on track to do about $1.8 billion in 2026. And they're not the only company to do that. There's a few variables that make the industry so good that I want to be breaking down. Number 1, you are selling to about 180 million Americans that are qualified, overweight, and don't have any disqualifying diseases and are adults. And so it makes it very, very good because you have a huge audience you can monetize to. And many people think that because of how big the market is, they think there's so many clinics, but the reality is you just have about 20,000 telehealth and brick and mortar clinics that are providing GLPs, and even less than that, there are also providing peptides. And so if you do the math, hopefully I'm right, you're looking at about 9,000 patients per clinic. Now, is this the average? Because if you're selling a $250 a month GLP medication subscription, you should be making about $2.2 million a month and about $1.1 million a month in profit. Is this the case for the average clinic? Obviously not. Most clinics are typically capped at about 100 patients, which again, not that bad because it means you're making about $25,000 per month, but this is nowhere near where you could be. And so how do you get to about $36 million per month? How do you do this with a $20,000 investment, which was 0.1? Well, it's very simple. Here's the most important things you're going to need to do when starting a telehealth brand. Number 1, you need to register your LLC. Number 2, you shouldn't be holding any stock. You can get a pharmacy that can drop ship the GLPs and peptides to your patients. And number 3, you're going to need a provider network. This is just a basic. Obviously, if we consider it, you're going to also be looking at a website to be able to market. Point number 5, this is where things get hard, is your marketing. Okay, the reason why Medvi was able to do so much money is because of 2 things. Number 1, they marketed better. One of the brothers has a marketing background and was able to make the brand overall just stand out from the competition, which allowed him to generate significantly more patients. Number 2, they shipped faster. They had the right infrastructure in the back end. They had the right companies that were partnering with. It didn't take them 7 days to ship out a medication. It took them them one day to do it. Therefore, had more happy customers, more referrals, more volume, more revenue, you name it. And so I want to be breaking down both points on how they were able to do this. Now, if we break down the cost here, it really doesn't cost you that much. The thing you need to be considering is that brothers have very extensive marketing background, number one, so they were able to generate patients and market it better. Number two, one of the brothers was very good at coding, and so coded the whole website, coded everything all together, also using AI tools, and this is how they were able to do it with just $20,000, which is quite incredible because when starting a telehealth brand, you're typically looking at a $30,000 to $40,000 investment at minimum if you want to do things well. This is because maybe you don't have the same skill set that those two people had, and therefore you just pay an expert to help you with that, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that, and it just helps you grow much faster. So let's break down they marketed better. Marketing. You see, one of the biggest mistakes that people make when starting a telehealth business is they approach it like it's a healthcare business. Well, it is obviously because you're selling GLP medication, you're selling peptides, but you don't understand that the biggest companies are just marketing and sales. Medvi doesn't have any doctors on staff. They don't have any pharmacists on staff. They don't hold any stock whatsoever. They just outsource. Okay, you have, like I said, pharmacies, you have a provider network, and those two have very simple functions. What the provider network does is they prescribe to the patient. So they review what's called an intake form, which contains all the most important information that a doctor to be able to do a prescription for a medication like GLPs. And then what happens is that prescription gets sent to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy simply ships the medication that they have directly to the patient. You pay the pharmacy, you pay the provider network, and this is the cool thing, you still have, when you're starting, 50% profit margin. It can go, we've seen it go as down as 30%, but again, you're looking at about mid 7-figure companies. We've taken one of our clients to 8 figures. This is when it typically happens. On average, you could be expecting between 40 and 60. We've seen upwards of 70% profit margins in the industry. No kidding. Now, in no way, shape, or form, I am saying that you're going to be taking this video and do it yourself. We don't make any income claims. We don't know you. We don't know who you are. And you're not going to watch a video and be able to do this and grow to $400 million. It doesn't happen. You need the right infrastructure to be able to do that. So like I said, the biggest telehealth companies are just sales and marketing organizations. Now let's break down the marketing. What are the top ways to generate patients? Now, again, why should you listen to me? This is coming from somebody that has spent about $6 million so far in profitable advertising in the GLP space. And so I kind of know what are the best avenues to generate patients because we spent a lot of money in pretty much all of them. And we've generated over $30 million in combined patient revenue between our clients. And so to break it down, the best way to generate patients is going to be advertising. There's no thing like advertising ever. Advertising is fast. Advertising is scalable. Advertising works day one. That's the most important thing. If you're doing organic content and you're just posting videos of yourself on Facebook, it's going to take you 9 months to start building a brand and just get one patient. If you're running ads, you can take that messaging, you can take the right content and put it in front of the right people and get them to buy day one. Number 2, emails. Oh my God. Emails are incredible. Not to generate new patients, but to retarget patients that have came in from advertising and patients that have already bought and maybe dropped off after 6 months. The average retention, just to be clear, is about 6 to 12 months on average for GLP medication amongst the patients that we have seen. And so we typically see, and this is a very crazy metric, a 50% of the revenue being attributed to email marketing, just from retargeting patients that have dropped off and patients that have came in from advertising and didn't buy, which makes emails one of the best ways to generate patients in 2026 for your GLP clinic. Number 3 is typically, from what I've seen, influencer marketing. You pay a celebrity in the space, you pay somebody that has a brand in the healthcare, in the weight loss space, and you get them to promote your brand. This is pretty good because you're spending about $500 a post, and realistically you just need 1 to 2 patients to make that money back. But also, one thing that people don't consider is that, we'll get into this in just a second, I don't want to be spoiling, I don't want to be skipping around, but the retention in this industry is insane. So those are the 3 best ways really you can generate patients. When it comes to advertising, where should you run advertising? We have seen Facebook and Google to be by far the best. We've tried Pinterest, we've tried TikTok. They just didn't hit as good as those two, and they were not really repeatable and scalable. When I say Facebook, obviously mean Meta. So this also includes Instagram, owned by the same company. Now, which is best between Facebook and Google? Great question. It is very hard to tell because they work cohesively. Whenever we're taking on a new client, we develop a strategy that includes both to be able to attract the right patients. You're doing Google, you're typically looking at very high impulsive buying. meaning somebody that's looking up where to get GLPs in whatever state or in whatever city, they see your company and they just buy because the price is good. With Facebook, way more variables, way more things you can do. Google tends to be very static and pretty good and scalable. Facebook is by far where we spend the most amount of money, because whenever you're developing the right strategy and that strategy hits, you're going to be making so much money. We typically get our clients a 4 to 5x return on ad spend from the same month if we're tracking the marketing strategy from the get-go. And then honorable mention, referrals. We're also going to be talking about that in just a second. Let me get into point number 2. Fulfillment. They shipped faster. Their product was better. The average retention of a patient, like I said before, is about 6 to 12 months on average, meaning if you have a patient that's paying you about $250 a month and you have a 50% profit margin, you are looking at about, let me just do the math for you, $1,500, 1.5K to 3K that you make per patient that you acquire. If you have a 50% profit margin, it means that you're making about $750 to 1.5K per patient in profit. This is take-home profit we're talking about. Now, you also got to consider, does it even cost me to acquire a patient? Does it cost like $500? Does it cost $1,000? It really depends on the scale. If we're taking on a new deal, if it's a brand new client, we expect about $150 cost per acquisition. Hence, it fluctuates between the months, but I would say yes, between $150 to $200 cost per acquisition, which is only paid once if you're doing the right type of, advertising, or if you're doing influencer marketing. And so what that means is you're spending $150 to acquire a patient. You're spending about $50 to $70 to fulfill every single month. $70 the first month because you need to include the prescription, $50 recurring just for the medication and the shipping to the patient's house. And you're taking home about $250. So what that means is those two combined, it's $220 for your first month that you're spending, and you're left with about $30. Now great. The next month, this becomes $50 and this goes away. And this is when it gets very cool. Now you're making $200 a month in profit per patient. Think about it this way. You've spent $3,000 on advertising. You have generated 20 patients. You have already made a profit on your first month. You've given money and you already made a profit in 30 days. It's incredible. And now you have a patient who's loyal and has a 30% referral rate, meaning out of 3 patients, you're going to be getting 1 more just out of referrals and good word of mouth that pay you $200 a month in profit. This is money you keep in your pocket, and they do it for 6 months. And this is what makes this very, very good, and how you can grow this fast, because as time passes, instead of your profit margin going down, it goes up because you have monthly recurring revenue, because you don't have to pay this anymore for the patients that you already, Medvi was able to do this. And like I said, they shipped faster. To be honest, they shipped faster. A lot of pharmacies and network of doctors are quite frankly horrible. They don't ship on time. They're going to be overcharging you. They have hidden fees. They don't care about patients. Just most companies are very bad when it comes to this space. And this is one of the things that we help our clients with. So number 1, it's a payment processing. Why do I say that? Because most payment processors don't really like telehealth companies, simply because they don't have enough volume and they are selling prescription drugs. And so most of them are going to be shutting you down unless you already generate a lot of money through it, which is what we do. We process about 15,000 orders, so 15,000 unique patients per month. And if you were to work with us, you would just get plugged in into what we do. And therefore, you wouldn't be shut down and you would be able to just process payments. You understand, if you're not able to process payments on a consistent basis, you're not going to be able to scale to $400 million in just less than 2 years of being in the industry. Number 2, we work really closely with about 20 pharmacies. The reason why we work with so many is because we want to make sure that every time we are able to provide prescriptions to the patients. This is very important. Here's how we go about vetting our pharmacies. There's a few things we go through. Number 1, we require third-party testing. If I'm selling a prescription drug or access to a prescription drug on the web to a patient and they take that prescription and they inject it, I understand that they could die if the medication contains heavy metals or if the medication is not pure enough. Therefore, we require third-party testing because quite honestly, a lot of these pharmacies don't really care. Number 2, what's the shipping time? In all 50 states. If I'm ordering today, when am I getting the medication? Because if I'm getting the medication in a week, as a patient, I'm not going with you. I have no reason to work with you. I could just go with somebody else that can ship it the same day. Number 3, compliance. Are they HIPAA compliant? Are they legit script certified? Are they PCI compliant, or do they have a BAA? Those are really important things that we go through with every single pharmacy partner that we bring on. Number 4, obviously honorable mention, which is the pricing. We guarantee the pricing for all of our clients. The reason why we're able to do that is because we're processing so much volume and we can negotiate the best deals. The great thing, and the reason why I'm not going to be able to give you a pricing right now, is because our prices go down every single month, which is one of the coolest things ever, because we get more and more patients for our clients every single month. And if you're looking to use us when it comes to starting your own telehealth business or our pharmacy, you can click down below and speak with one of our advisors and we'll be happy to help you. And your provider, you have providers in all 50 states. How soon is it taking me to get on a consultation from the moment I pay? Is it going to take me 5 minutes or is it going to take me 5 hours? Because if it takes me 5 hours, I am done. I am moving to the next company. I don't want to be waiting 5 hours for somebody to review my intake, review my questionnaire. They can do it within 5 minutes, which is a good time. Cool. That's great. That's going to tell you a lot about how they were able to do this. And then obviously let's talk about the referrals. If you have a 30% referral rate, which is typically what we see amongst our clients, you're getting a new patient every 3 new patients that you generate. And this is how you're able to really grow fast. And so the biggest things that you should focus on is, you have 2 paths. Path number 1 is you try and figure it out yourself. There's a lot of compliance. There's a lot of lawsuits going around. It's not cool. So path number 1 is you figure it out yourself. Good luck with that, because it's going to take you 6 to 9 months, or you work with one of those companies that tell you that they can help you start, but it takes 3 months and they're just referring you to a bunch of companies. Path number 2 is you can just book a call with us and we will build that roadmap for you on how you can get started in 30 days, compliantly, launch it profitably, make money within 2 months, break even within 2 to 3 months of working with us, and really grow. We've consulted a lot of deals. Like I said, we've generated over $30 million in new patient revenue in 2025 for our clients. And I'm very confident that we can do that with you, whether you have a medical license or you don't, and you're just an entrepreneur that's looking to get started in the industry. We work with a lot of Fortune 500 CEOs that have a lot of capital put into this. They know this is an amazing opportunity. They know this is revolutionizing the way healthcare is done, and it's not just the latest gold rush. And we can also work with you if you're just working in the hospital or you're making somebody else rich by working in a private clinic and you just want to regain your time. You don't want to be working 12 to 14 hours a day. Maybe you want to take a vacation to the mountains of Utah like I do and be able to grow, have more time, replace your income, and hopefully make even more money than that. So that being said, you can go down below, book a call with one of our advisors. Just one last tip I want to leave you with is the concept of leverage. The speed in which you can materialize something dictates how fast you're growing in business. Think about God. Technically, the definition of a God is a thought that gets materialized within a millisecond. The faster you can do this, and the faster you can turn a thought into a reality, the faster you're going to grow in business. And this is very important. Leverage is the key, because like I said multiple times throughout this video, the biggest telehealth companies are simply sales and marketing organizations. Nothing more than that. They just focus on getting patients and finding a good partner to outsource it to. So again, if you're looking to just shortcut it and not spend 9 months trying to figure this out yourself and learning more about the regulations and all the problems are in the space, and you just want to outsource it to somebody who's an expert and who's done it for 100 brand new clinics and over 150 existing clinics, then you can click down below, book a call with our advisors, and I'll see you in the next video.